Hey everybody, I am Captain Tommy Scoville, and you are on the lifeboat. So glad to see so many of you lovely people here this evening. Uh, Truthfully, Zach D, good to see you. Hola, and it's good to be back on a normal scheduled evening to be back on the lifeboat. Today we're going to talk about a subject matter that's different to everybody. Right, this means something different to you than it means to me. And it's going to mean something different to your friends than it means to you. It's one of those really odd things, right? Um, it's odd in that you know what trust means to everybody is different. What loss of trust means to everyone is identical, right? When you feel like someone has let you down, and I've made a career of this for the record. I've made a career of letting people down, and it's different. It's odd. Russ has been inside. When you get on the other side of the fence in prison, and you give somebody your word, or you link up with someone and you say, you know what, I got your back, and you expect that person will will have your back as well. This becomes something that is slightly different than what it is on the street. And more often than not, it's never going to come into play ever. It's one of those things that people are going to promise one another, and it doesn't come up. It's not like the movies. There's not a fight every 30 seconds. Prison isn't like that. There are some really ugly things that happen, but they're not every 5 seconds. And I have a friend, and I'll tell you his name because he wouldn't care. His name is JC. And that's actually how he was born. His family named him JC. And I met him in the county jail. We did time together in the county jail. I went to the federal system. He went to the federal system. He had a very long sentence. I got out. I got sent back, and I ended up on a yard with JC on the yard. And we had pledged to, till the wheels fall off. We had pledged to have each other's back, literally, and that's the pledge, till the wheels come off. So I don't care if you're right or wrong. You could be dead wrong. You could have gotten caught stealing. If they're fighting you, I'm going to jump in and fight with you. And it's that kind of a thing. And you take it very seriously. You don't throw it around. And people ask you for that kind of thing all the time. Hey, man, you got my back? And you'll go, no, I don't. No, I don't. I watch my back. But because we were from the same part of the world, and because we knew each other and had kind of gone through that whole process of waiting to be sentenced and all of that, at the time he knew the girl that I was engaged to, and she had been giving his friends. She had been giving his significant other a ride up to visit. So we had really kind of built a relationship. So now years, flash by years later, and I'm on another yard, and he lives in a different unit, and he's partying hard. And at the time I was too. I was not sober yet, but I was living in a different unit, and someone gave me a watch, right? And it's what's called grandfathered. And what that means is that somebody wore this watch into prison back when you could wear a watch into prison. They don't allow that to happen anymore. So this is a watch that on the street is worth about $1,000. It's a Movado wristwatch. It's not a Rolex, but it's not a piece of junk either. It does have a battery, but it's a $1,000 watch, $1,200 watch. And the guy said to me, "Can you bring it to somebody and give it to them in the chow hall? I'll give you a couple of bucks for doing it." I said, "Sure." I walked this thing down and I handed it to the guy as we're going into the chow hall. And I said to him, "Go back to your unit. Put it in the unit. Don't bring it into the chow hall. God forbid the cop decides to search you or whatever." And of course, what happens? The jackwagon carries it into the chow hall, gets searched, loses the watch, realizing that he's probably going to be in a lot of trouble, decides to do what's called a dry PC, protective custody move. And what that means is he starts screaming at the cop about how he's going to kill him and he's going to beat this cop to death. And if he ever finds out where he lives, he's saying all the right things to ensure that he's never, ever going to step foot on that yard ever again. He's going to get taken to the SHU, and he's going to get shipped off to another institution, which is exactly what this dude wanted to happen. Sadly, that kind of leaves me holding the bag. I was the last person who had the watch in my hand. So the following day, this gentleman comes up, and he's got a bit of a beef about this watch. And he said, that watch, I was selling that for $1,500. And I said, well, kind of a bummer that you didn't get that $1,500, huh? Boy, that would have really helped your finances. I don't know what that's got to do with me. I was asked to go and hand the watch off. I did. Right. I didn't get caught before I handed the watch off. I handed the watch off. Right. I did my part. Your guy's an idiot. He continued to press the issue. And this gentleman was part of a organization, a group of people that all belonged to a specific organization. And he made a beef about it. And the beef started to get kind of ugly. And he was willing to give me a deal. But that deal translated to about $850, which in prison is, like $6,000 or $7,000 on the street, $10,000 on the street. It's not something you're going to come up with overnight. And I did not mention it to JC. I did not mention it to any of the people I was really close with. I thought, I can probably get my way out of this. And I was working on it. The guy set a deadline and told me that I had until the football game was over on Sunday. This was during football season. And I was coming back from the chow hall. And you can't go into a unit that's not yours. It's called out of bounds. You go directly to the hole for it. They have no sense of humor about it at all. And I walk into my unit, and sitting next to this guy who they called Block was JC. Now, Block was not the same race as us. So JC shouldn't have been sitting in his section anyway. But he was seated right next to him having a conversation. And the conversation went on for, I don't know, maybe a minute that I saw. And then JC got up and walked over to the door, walked out, and disappeared. About 30 minutes later, I was getting out of the shower. I had someone watching, to make sure that nothing happened to me while I was in there. And I was getting out of the shower. I had just finished putting my clothing on, and Block walked up to me and said, "Hey, man, don't worry about that watch thing. It's over." I said, "We're cool on the watch." He said, "Yeah, it's quashed. Don't worry about it. That one's dead. I won't bring it up again." What happened was a guy that made me a promise a long time ago that he had my back in any circumstances went into that unit and said, "If my boy cuts himself shaving, I'm going to kill you. If he stubs his toe getting out of the shower, I'm going to kill you. You got to hope he doesn't fall down putting on his pants one leg at a time, because if he does, I'm going to kill you." And he said, "And if something happens to me, then more of my friends are going to keep coming. Nothing is going to happen to him over that stupid freaking watch." I didn't ask him to come in and do it. I didn't. But you see, this guy and I had put our trust in one another in a way that inside there is really different. And when you get out here, it's not like that, right? It isn't. It would be fantastic if there were people that we could trust. And by the way, I'm not hacking on anybody. I'm hacking on me, right? I don't hold up my end of the bargain on the trust thing very well at all. I'm not, this isn't a shot at anybody today. I got to do better. And I think that, I think every one of us has to, because when we do things that erode trust, getting it back is really a difficult thing to do under the best of circumstances, right? And let's be really honest, nobody here is under the best of circumstances, right? We're addicted to chemicals or habits, right? The vast majority of us. That is why we're here. Not all of us. There are people here who don't have drug habits, but they've got something, right? We've all got something that puts us into the same boat. What happens then if you do destroy that trust? Number one, I guess it depends on what kind of trust that is. If you've come home and the person that you've pledged the rest of your life with is with someone else, that's something that every single person would have to make a decision on their own. And I assure you, I'm not the cat that could give you any advice on that. Russ says, in prison, your word is your bond. You never disrespect anyone and you stay true to your real friends. That's right. At any cost. At any cost. And dishonor or disrespect or blowing your word is the end, right? I mean, there really is. And it's odd because you get out here in the real world and you make friends and you do things and you set stuff up and you work together and deals are done and all kinds of things like that. And the phrases like, hey, I'll have this done on such and such a day don't mean the same thing, right? You spend 13 years in a place where if someone says this will be done Tuesday at 2:00, oh, it'll be done Tuesday at 1, right? There's not going to be any error in any way that person may be late doing what they say they were going to do. Correct, Joel. Correct. The real world doesn't have that accountability. And thank God it doesn't. I mean, I don't want that. Nobody wants that. Truthfully, nobody does. You know what I want? I want to be normal. That's what I want. I'd like to be normal. I'd like to just get to a point where I'm like everybody else, and that you just come to realize that it's different out here, and it's going to be different. I don't, like I said, I'm not batting 1,000 at saying I'll get something done and doing it. I'm not batting 1,000 at coming through when I say I'm going to come through. Yes, Squirrel is here. What is normal? I'll tell you what I think normal is. I think that normal is if the things that you do in life don't break the law. I think that if the things that you do in life adhere to a code of ethics that you have laid out for yourself, right? Something that is stringent. It's yours, you develop it, but you live by it and you stay within it. And right, your yays are yays and all of that. If you say you're going to do something, you're going to do something. You don't hurt anybody, you don't lie to anybody, and you do everything within your freaking power to stay in your own lane. Right? There's no reason to interfere with the lives of other people for any reason. Seriously, even if you think what you're doing may be bettering that individual's life, who the hell gives you that right? Stay in your lane. All right? These would be pretty simple concepts. But that, hey, how you doing, Kat? To me, that's normal. That doesn't mean it's normal to everybody else, right? To what's normal to one cat, what's normal to another could be completely different things. Come on, Squirrel, I'm holding it. See, she wants to jump in the basket, but sometimes that will skid her off the edge. The whole basket will go with her. And cats get really bummed out if you laugh at them. I don't know if you've ever noticed that, but like if a cat does something embarrassing and falls down or something and you giggle at it, the cat will be really angry and not treat you nice for a long time. They're very, I don't know what the word I'm looking for. They're very sensitive, I guess. They got thin skin underneath that fur. Trying to rebuild trust. Rebuild trust. This might be an exercise in futility, in all honesty, because whether or not you can rebuild trust is going to depend on the parties involved in every situation. Am I right? I mean, it depends on what it is that, that the trust is. If a person cheated on you with 35 people, might be a little bit of a tougher rebuild. Doesn't mean it couldn't happen. It's just going to be a bit of a tougher rebuild. Regardless of what your guy did or what your gal did that eroded that trust. To rebuild it, I think there's a 5-step plan that can happen, right? That can work. I love snot face myself. Number 1, open communication, right? This is the saddest part of what happens, because as we begin to unravel, as we begin to lose trust in one another, and as all of that starts to come apart, the first thing we do is we stop talking to each other, right? We stop talking to one another. And if you can get a safe space for people to express their thoughts and their concerns and their emotions openly and honestly, this involves active listening, empathy, and non-judgmental responses to foster trust. Sharing information and being transparent about thoughts and actions helps rebuild a sense of reliability and predictability. And obviously, I think this is pretty important stuff. If you've been here a minute, then you could probably count on one or two hands the number of times I've worked with notes or written notes down. It's not my thing. But let's be really honest. There's nobody listening to the sound of my voice who has not, in one way or another, or in 10 ways, managed to screw up trust with somebody that they care about. They've done something somewhere along the line, all of us, to damage the trust. It is a side effect of addiction, right? It is, and sadly, it's also the side effect of trauma, right? Even for those of us who have never been addicted, if you've been living with trauma for a long enough period of time, the symptoms are the same, right? We talk about it doesn't matter what the symptom is. As you start to unpeel the onion and as you start to get deeper down involved, we're all suffering from the same things. And deep inside every one of us is that feeling that we're all afraid of being abandoned. We're all afraid of being lied to. We're all afraid of being burned, right? We're all afraid of putting our trust into somebody and having that trust, having put it in the wrong human being and feeling like you got burned, like the person that you chose to trust isn't what they say they are or what they looked to be. It's a difficult thing. It's painful, right? To all parties involved. Question: how do I even know what trust feels like when my parents abused and betrayed me? I've never had that connection with someone. Well, OGT Bell. Truthfully, my best piece of advice for you would be to be talking to professionals, right? And a lot of them. So I've been pretty open that in the last couple of days I had an episode, nervous breakdown. I don't know what you want to call it, right? If I had not gone to seek medical care, I don't know where I would be right now. There are times that you really need to seek out professional help. And the fact that you're here and the fact that you're talking, that you're being open shows that you are absolutely open to the concepts of working with somebody. And I think it's unusual how you worded this. And I think it's kind of important. How do I even know what trust feels like? My gut tells me that you are experiencing it and that you're probably extending it to people. The question does become, what does it feel like? Because I promise you at your age, it is something that you do, but perhaps you don't know the feeling. And there are people that you can work with who can actually foster that so that you get some kind of an idea of, because this is going to be a whole new experience. If that is the reality of your youth, and I know that there's a lot of people who grew up in similar situations, if that's the reality of your youth, then I cannot say, I can't stress enough how important it is that you seek professional help, because they can really help connect the dots. I am going to throw a one up there for you as well, because I think that thoughts and prayers would be great. And OG, I think it's fantastic that you can come here, you can be this open. That's a hard thing to talk about. It's a hard thing to be open with, but I think that you are among friends. It's a beautiful thing. Tommy, I hate peeling the onion. Each layer is an open wound. Boy, there's a lot of truth to that, isn't there? And the thing with peeling the onion is you got to be careful with how you peel it. You got to be careful if you're doing it alone, if you're doing it with a journal, if you're doing it with someone else, right? It's so important that you trust the individual that you work with. It's so important that you get someone that's going to be there and through the long haul and hold your hand through that process, because you are going to be opening up wounds, and it's pretty important that make sure you're in good hands. Shop around, find the right people before you talk to somebody. Make sure that you have a professional that you can trust, and it's going to be, a good situation for you, because I think it can be magical. I know that I made a lot of progress moving forward at times. I really have. Thank you, Zach D. That is so kind. I appreciate you, brother. I really do. And love having you here. I really love having you here. OG Bell says, thanks. I am in therapy and have been. Just the real world relationships that elude me. Good. And I don't mean good. What I mean is, I hope you're telling people in therapy exactly what you're saying here. Thanks. I'm getting a lot out of this. I'm struggling with real world relationships. And here's where my stumbling block is. Are there things that you can suggest, or things that you can do, or things that you can guide me in, directions that you can guide me in, so that I can actually work on this and maybe move forward? Because I think that that's pretty legit stuff. And everybody is in agreement, right? We're all saying the same thing. Quiet Girl says, I finally got a new psychiatrist and she is freaking awesome. How good is that, huh? That is winning the lottery. Congratulations, Quiet Girl. That is awesome. I could not be happier for you. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. That's really, really great stuff. I'm so happy that you have found a good one. It's not easy, people, and you have to shop around and you have to keep trying. And it's important because, for a lot of us, it's going to be opening up and talking about things that maybe we haven't talked about ever, or things that we've never had the courage to talk to someone else about, or maybe it's been years or whatever. But it is important to get these things out. If not, they're going to eat you alive from the inside out. I believe that. And yeah, it's hard, but it's essential. Consistency, number 2. Demonstrate reliability and dependability in actions and in words. This includes keeping promises, being punctual, and following through on commitments. Consistency helps rebuild trust by showing that what is said aligns with what is done, and it creates a stable and a secure environment for both partners. And in some cases, it doesn't mean saying, I'll be there at 8 o'clock and being there at 8 o'clock. In some cases, it means I'll leave you alone, right? In some cases, it means that in the process of building something back, the person says, you know what, I need time. Well, if you don't give that person time they're asking for, it's probably not a great indicator that you're ready to sort of follow through on the whole, I'm going to listen, I'm going to respect, and I'm going to respond. And you know what? Hey, if you're sitting there and you're saying, during all of this, I'm expected to take 2 or 3 weeks off. You know what? Maybe during the course of that 2 or 3 weeks off, you're going to find out that this wasn't what you thought it was. Right? Maybe that's a possibility. But respect the person that you're with enough to give them that chance, to give them that opportunity, right? That's important. And if this is family, if this is somebody that you're not divorcing your sister, right? You're not divorcing your brother. But if your brother or sister says, look, I need some time, give them some time. Right? Respect that. Start to show from the word go that, hey, there are going to be some boundaries that you want. I'm going to listen. I'm going to respect. Snot face, thanks so much, hon. Really appreciate you. I really, really appreciate you, snot face. And I hope you're doing all right, hon. I love snot face. Not just because I like saying snot face. She's a great girl, but I do like saying snot face. Admittedly, that's an awful lot of fun. But if you're going to be consistent, people, you got to be consistent across the board. And you know what? Consistency is going to be hard. When it comes to rebuilding trust, consistency is going to be hard. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be comfortable. And you know what? A lot of times it's not going to work. If it doesn't work, if you're not going to get back, that's probably going to be where you can't do it. It's really super important to be consistent, and consistent with what the person you're trying to help needs, not what you want, but what they want. Right? That's what rebuilding trust is. And if both of you need to rebuild trust, God bless you. Right? God bless you. Watching from Australia. I hope all's well today. So nice to have you tuning in from Australia. You're in good company. I think about half of the audience is Australia. For whatever reason, we have a lot of Aussies on the lifeboat. As I like to say, it just proves you're all on drugs. I'm kidding. I love Australians. My brother also has a real warm spot in his heart for Aussies as well. Number 3. This one's huge, people. Pay attention. This is a big one. Apology and accountability. Acknowledge mistakes. Take responsibility for actions and offer sincere apologies when necessary. Owning up to errors without excuses or blame shifting is crucial. Following apologies with actions that rectify the situation or prevent a repeat of the mistake demonstrates commitment to change and rebuilding that trust. We've talked a lot in the past about how I view the whole apology thing, right? I have the firm belief that when you say I'm sorry to somebody, that the person should not say, yep, we're good, until they mean I'm never going to bring this up ever again. I'm good means that's the end, right? There's not going to be the next time we fight, you're not going to say to me, oh, well, what about that time you did this, this, and this, right? I forgive you means I give that up. It's in the past, right? It's so far away. I will never, ever, it's not on the keyboard. I will never bring it up again, right? There you go. Play over here. That's really what you're saying. At least it's been that way with me, right? So it's okay to say to somebody, I appreciate the apology. I don't know that I'm ready to say I'm done with this yet, right? And sometimes that's the reality. All right, Kitty, you're not making the cut. I'm sorry, but I can't. You know what? She walks on the keyboard and she'll kill the live stream. She's done it 2 or 3 times in her little career. But taking responsibility for the things that you've done is huge. It's not always easy. And it's hard because as I don't know about women, and boy, do I not know about women. No, but I mean, as a guy, we work up the courage, we work up the whatever you want to call it to say, hey, I'm really sorry. You know, I'm sorry. I made a mistake. This is what I did, and I shouldn't have done it. And I'm so sorry. And, you know, it might take days, you know, it might take weeks to work up the courage to do the I'm really going to say sorry thing. Right. And when you're working it out in your head, the girl that you love looks at you with those beautiful blue eyes and she says, thanks, baby. I forgive you. Everything is going to be great. And you say, I'm so sorry. And she looks at you and goes, okay. Yeah, because that hurt me. You know, I'm not ready to be done talking about this yet. And it's like getting the air let out of you, right? Well, that's what communication is. For real. This is why the whole open line of communication is the most important thing in the whole world. If we're going to rebuild this, forgiveness isn't for the other people. Forgiveness is for you. It is. It absolutely is. And you know what, people? Let's be real. There are things that happen that no one's going to forgive you for. You know, there are things that we do that we can say sorry, and we're never going to get I forgive you. And that's just the reality. Doesn't mean you shouldn't say sorry. Right? For me anyway, you know, you got to get that off your conscience. For me, that's a very it's a heavy thing if I don't, right? Your husband's a bona fide saint. Sounds like a great guy, but I'm sure you're not that bad, Sandy. Come on. Number 4, setting boundaries. Everybody's favorite. Establish clear boundaries and expectations to define acceptable behavior and ensure both parties feel safe, respected. Respecting each other's boundaries reinforces a sense of mutual trust, demonstrating that both parties are considerate of each other's needs and limitations. This is one of those things that sadly we're not good at doing first, right? If we do it early on in a relationship, man, if you're just starting one out, you know, setting boundaries would be great. This is kind of my space. This is kind of your space. This is kind of what I expect. What is it you expect? Those kind of communications build relationships that last a lifetime. You know, those marriages where you go, good Lord, how's that possible? You know, my mom and dad made it. till the very end. It just blows me away, but they're out there. Really is it's a beautiful thing. It is possible, but it always hinges on the same thing, and it comes back to communication. And setting boundaries is another thing that isn't going to happen magically, right? Setting boundaries requires sitting down across from the person that you love and talking about it. All of these things do not happen magically. Finding out what is going to upset your mate, or the person that you hope is going to be your mate, or the person you hope is going to be your best friend, or the person you hope is going to be your business partner, or whatever it is, right? These rules apply for everything. They really do. When you love someone, you can talk through and work through a lot. You have to be honest, though. I agree with you. I don't think that there's much that can't be worked out if you really love someone. And very often in the beginning, you lay out those rules, right? Don't cheat on me, don't lie to me, or whatever those things are. And those are the kind of boundaries that can be set out in the beginning as well. And very often, I think that a real love, like the kind of love that people hope that they have, the kind of love that you hope, are like storybook loves that can overcome anything like that. I agree with you. But and sometimes you see people and you go, man, how could that not have gotten put back together? But you know what? Sometimes it's just, you get two personalities that you get a couple of alpha personalities, and no one wants to be the person to say sorry or be the person to take the first step. And, you see weird things. Are the night yard shows possibly contributing to your nightmares? Thank you for the question, Bruce. And the answer to that would be a resounding no. But I thank you for being concerned. I know what contributes to my nightmares, people. I really do. There's just a lot of there's just a lot of, there's things that I don't talk about on the lifeboat. It happens in waves, depending on what's going on in my life. For instance, if my daughter were to go on vacation to Europe for 2 months, I would get these dreams, and it would be my daughter that was being attacked, right? It usually is tied to things that are going on in my life. And there's been some things that have been going on in my life that have caused some nightmares. Nightmares are from unresolved trauma. This nightmare is from me watching someone get murdered, is what it's from. And I relive it. I've been reliving it since 2013. Night Yard's not bad. Usually, honestly, we laugh a lot on Night Yard. You know what I mean? We laugh a lot. We're farting around on Night Yard more than we're doing anything else. It's not really, really serious like that. I believe we're going to be doing Night Yard tomorrow night. If my memory serves me right. We had talked about doing it tonight. I am not sure that I can. I'm still running on still running a little low. You're not a bad influence, man. You're not a bad influence. Holy hell, man. Bad influences. Yeah, you're a great influence. Russ, make no mistake. Russ sends me texts if he thinks I'm having a bad time, and I swear to you, they're always perfect. They're just the kind of thing that a homeboy who's got your back would send you. Crazy Brumfield, young. You see that? Young. That was a crazy thing to witness. Was it someone you cared for? No. I mean, I knew him. I didn't have any really serious love for him now. Everybody see that? Can we get some thoughts and prayers from Miss Dragon, whose husband has a consult tomorrow, a surgery consult, and be more than happy to keep you in our thoughts and prayers for that for sure, Miss Dragon. Thank you so much, and for all you do for the boat. Miss Dragon is consistently there, just puts a lot of work and a lot of effort into the boat, and makes great videos of her own stuff. I'll stick that link up there. That would be great too. That really would be great. And you know what? There's what? Let's see. There's 72 of us in here right now. And statistically speaking, there's going to be about what, another 400 or 500 if we get lucky, somewhere in there that pop across that. Look, go over to the gray zone with Vanessa and hit subscribe. I think she's about 60 people away or something like that from 1,000, which is what we need for her to be monetized, right? So let's get over there and hit subscribe if you haven't done that, right? This is a small community. Let's treat each other like a community, shall we? Yeah, maybe there's something with that I have a sober brain. My sober brain probably is a little bit different at night than the other one used to be sure. Thanks, Miss Dragon. I appreciate that. It's a great channel. It really is. Miss Dragon does great stuff. And if somebody wants to put up the link to the gray zone, I'd appreciate that too. And you guys could pop over there and just and give her a subscribe. Let's do what we can to keep the SPTV community growing. Can we? You like this? This was a. You know what this is? I'll just keep it real. You know what this is? Every single time something like this happens, huh? Every single time something like this happens, this is because I tried to trim it with electric trimmers, and I'm bad at it, right? So I look in the mirror and I go, oh, crap. And it's got like a divot out of one side of it. And I'm like, I can fix this. And I go over and I trim it up a little bit. And I'm like, you know what? That's not bad. A little thin on this side. And by the time it's done, it looks perfect, except it just goes to here. So if you look at me from the side, there's nothing, right? Like everything back here is gone. So then I just go, you know what? Broom it. We're going to go with the handlebars. Yeah, right. The dude, stop trimming. Okay, so we're gonna leave this then. All right. My oldest would call it the porn stash. Technically, I think the porn stash ends here, right? Like that's really the porn stash. I'm sorry. You know what? Russ says, Tommy, what's up with Aaron? Is he okay? Haven't seen him in a hot minute. He's on the other side of the pond. He is in Great Britain. He's in England. So he's doing okay. No problem. I texted with him yesterday. Joel Lawson just now noticed that I shaved. Thank you, Joel. Appreciate that. Yeah, you know what? I don't do well trimming. I look like an evil mob boss from an 80s movie, says Rob Carter. Perfect. That's the look I was looking for. So we're in great shape. No. Yeah, Aaron's in Great Britain. So if you happen to be in Great Britain, be on the lookout. He's about 6'2", 6'3", good sized guy. Chances are he will be eating a plate of fish and chips. It may not even be his plate of fish and chips. There's an excellent chance he could be eating the one next to him. I'm sorry, but if he were here, he'd get a kick out of that. The man likes to eat. I'm sorry if you were here. I told him that this whole YouTube thing doesn't work out. He's got a damn good chance of being a trencherman, someone who eats for competition. And I know that Laura from Laura FM would back me up on this. Vanessa would back me up on this. Alan Ballantyne, to be sure, would back me up on this. But yeah, that's where he is. He's over there and he's doing well. Yosemite Sam. Wow. You think I look like Yosemite Sam? Oh, no. Now I look like a biker. See, you guys are going to get me all freaked out and I'm going to end up cutting this thing. See, I should never ask opinions because then you got me feeling like I'm, I don't look like I'm some killer from a biker gang. See, you guys aren't very nice. I blame Johnny. It's usually his fault anyway. All right, people. I think yes, without the red hair. Well, people, that brings us to 40 minutes. I was gonna try to do I was going to try to pull a full hour, but leave it. Looks great, says Ramona Blue. I appreciate that, Ramona. You know what? We'll throw out one more after the boundaries. All right. We will stretch this out just a little bit longer, right? Patience and time. If you're going to try to rebuild, you look like Frank Zappa. I'll take Zappa. I will take Zappa. It goes considerably better with my collection of zircon encrusted tweezers. Yeah, I'll go Zappa. All right. So patience and time. Recognize that rebuilding trust is a gradual process that requires patience and understanding. Healing takes time, and allowing space for this process without rushing or pressuring each other can foster a more genuine and solid foundation for trust to develop naturally. I think that that's probably one of the most important things in the world. If you're trying to rebuild trust with somebody, your best friend, your brother, your sister, your mother and father, your kids, a significant other, give them time to do whatever they think. You think I should shave it all off then there? Is that what you're saying? Ellie says, cut it off. I may just do that. Sending love to Steve and to Quiet Girl. Well, that's nice. That's nice. Excellent. Thank you, Snotface. Snotface sending love out to two people that are two of the most supportive people you'll want to meet on the boat. So well done. I am in perfect agreement with that 100%. My man wouldn't look good with a mustache. Well, I've never particularly thought I looked good with a mustache either. But I am of the firm belief that it doesn't much matter what direction I go. Member for 11 months, looking good in green. Cemetery says, "See you later." There was something else, but I didn't see what it was. Let's try that one more time. What did it say? It said, "Good night, folks. Maybe I'll talk to you guys tomorrow." You know, that's kind of how I feel too, man. Maybe I will talk to you guys. Tommy, like you with facial hair, no matter how you style it, you wear it well. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I went without it completely at one point on the boat. I did shave it all off. There are videos out there on the boat of me with no facial hair. It's I don't think there's a lot of them, but there's a couple of them out there to be sure. Tommy, will you tell us if your girl forgave you? I think it's probably past that. But yes, I'll fill you in. How's that? Yeah, I'll keep you in the loop. I would be happy to. Great show, brother. Good night, Tommy Bird. Thank you, man. Have a great night. Piper Lynn loves Judas Priest. Rob Carter, been there, done that more than once. It is a terrible mistake to make, but it is one that I have done, and it is not a lot of fun. Quiet Girl, member for 4 months, says, congratulations, Guac, 4 months and counting. Can we get that? Everybody hear that? Guac. 4 months, people. That is 120 days. I was told there'd be no math, but it's at least 120 days. Congratulations, Guac. For real, man. That's huge. I hope you realize just how huge that is, man. When was the last time you went naked facially? Sometime last year. I did it for a couple of weeks. I have shaved off all my facial hair while doing the lifeboat. So in the last 2 years, I've done it once or twice. To be sure, I've done it once or twice in the last couple of years. You'll see it again. You stick around on the boat long enough, you'll wake up one morning, it'll all be gone. That's just kind of how it works. Honest. Yeah, Guac, well done. Well done. You really should be proud of yourself, man. That is awesome. I'm making guacamole as I type, says Miss Dragon. Alrighty, everybody. And yeah, the mods are the best in the business. I appreciate my mods. They are They work very, very hard, and I'm a hard person to work for. I'm a terrible communicator, believe it or not. And I do a lot of stuff right on the fly, and it's I apologize for all I put you guys through, but you are the best moms in the world, and I love you guys. I mean that. All right, so see if I can't do a little better in the future, and I'll keep you guys in the loop. All right, I'm Captain Tommy Scoville. This right here is the love of my life. That is a cat in a basket. You're a good kitty. Yeah, she really is. She's a good girl. All right, peeps. Adios. We'll see you on the next one. All right. Close your eyes.